Hello there, and welcome to the last of the character creation videos for my series, How to Run Cyberpunk Red. This final video in the character creation process is going to cover Cyberware, the various cybernetic enhancements the player characters will be able to install in their bodies, the costs involved, both monetarily and for their humanity score, and some breakdowns of some of the items available. This will not be a comprehensive breakdown of every single item, but it will give you, as a game master or players watching this, a better idea of how Cyberware fits into the final stages of character creation. Before diving into all of that, though, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also check out my other channel on YouTube, The King's Square Reviews, for videos about TV, movies, and eventually book reviews. If you're feeling generous, there's a link to my Patreon in the description below. Thanks for listening to some shameless self-promotion. In the dark dystopian future of Cyberpunk Red, cybernetic enhancements have been commonplace for decades. The first iterations of cybernetics started to appear in the early 1990s during the First Central American War. These were crude designs, mainly used as replacement body parts for the soldiers who were getting injured in that conflict. The first generation of cybernetics, known as Generation 1, start appearing in the late 2000s and early 2010s. The cyberware that is available for player characters in the time of the Red sits between Generation 2 and Generation 3, which were advances in cybernetic technology that began to take shape during the corporate wars of the 2000s, 2010s, and especially during the Fourth Corporate War. The big fear around cyberware is cyberpsychosis, which is a dissociative disorder where someone with pre-existing psychopathic tendencies enhances themselves with cybernetics to the point they no longer see themselves or other people as individuals, but rather as a collection of replaceable parts. The most common symptoms of cyberpsychosis are poor impulse control, outbursts of anger or rage without warning, a lack of self-preservation instincts, and a complete lack of empathy for your fellow human beings. In game mechanics, this is exemplified by your character's humanity score. During the process of setting up your character's stats, one of those stats is empathy. Take whatever number you put for empathy and multiply it by 10, and that is your humanity score. Every piece of cyberware you install, with a few exceptions, causes humanity loss. Additionally, experiencing traumatic events in-game can also cause humanity loss as well, so it's not just cybernetics that eat away at a character's ability to feel empathy for their fellow humans. Each time your humanity score changes the tens number, so going from 41 to 39 as an example, your empathy score goes down by one number, in this case going from 4 to 3. The way to avoid humanity loss for cybernetics is to install medical-grade cyberware, which is just a replacement for a lost organ or limb. I want to make something clear, and it outlines this in the core rulebook as well. Replacing lost limbs or bodily functions with medical-grade cyberware, or going through something like gender-affirming care with body sculpting, does not cause humanity loss. In order to incur humanity loss, your character has to use cybernetics to replace perfectly functional body parts or enhance the body beyond what the baseline human body is meant to have. Now let's dive into the types of cyberware available. There are 8 types of cyberware: Fashionware, Neuralware, Cyberoptics, Cyberaudio, internal body cyberware, external body cyberware, cyberlimbs, and Borgware. Each of these types offers some pretty radical options, and there have been additional cybernetic options added in subsequent DLCs and books released for Cyberpunk Red. When you're reviewing the Cyberware charts in the core rulebook, there are 5 parts to the tables for the options: the name of the item, the install requirement, the description and data on the item, the number of option slots the Cyberware takes up, the cost in Eurobucks for the item, and lastly, the HL, or humanity loss, for the item. Installation means where your character can go to install that piece of cyberware, which is broken down into 3 categories. Mall, meaning it can be installed really anywhere, including your local corner bodega. Clinic, which means a Ripper Doc is involved and you're working in a local medical clinic. And hospital, which is reserved for those cybernetic options that require extensive surgery in a full hospital setting. The cost listed for each item includes the installation costs, so there's no extra charge for that. Humanity loss is broken up into 2 options. The first number listed is the amount of humanity loss that your character receives for installing that piece of cyberware during character creation. The dice number in parentheses is the number of 6-sided dice you roll to determine humanity loss if you install the cyberware after character creation. Some options allow for you to take half of the 6-sided die roll, rounded up, but those are generally smaller, less invasive options. The first type of cyberware is called Fashionware, which your character installs for personal adornment or fashion sense. You have 7 option slots for your character to install Fashionware, and some of the options can be installed multiple times. All Fashionware items cost 100 Eurobucks, and they do not cause any humanity loss, so it's the only option that doesn't cost your character much in the way of money or humanity. Some of the common items characters install are biomonitors, which monitor your character's vitals, and EMP threading, which adds silver circuit-like patterns across a character's skin. Light tattoos are one Fashionware item that can be installed multiple times. Light tattoos are subdermal patches that project colored tattoo patterns under the skin. If you install light tattoos 3 times, your character gets a +2 bonus to wardrobe and style skill checks. A combo your character can install is Tech Hair and Chem Skin. Chem Skin uses dyes and pigments to permanently change your skin's hue, while Tech Hair is artificial hair that is color and light emitting. If you install both Chem Skin and Tech Hair, your character gets a +2 bonus to personal grooming skill checks. Neuralware enhances or augments your character's reflexes and mental faculties. Here's the first time we see the introduction of foundational cyberware. For some of these types, there's a foundational piece of cyberware that has to be installed, which has option slots for additional pieces to be added onto it. For Neuralware, the foundational piece is the neural link, which is a wired artificial nervous system for your character's body. Neural links have 5 option slots for additional enhancements. Some of the most common items are the Kerensnikov and the Sandevistan, which are called speedware. You can only install one piece of speedware. The difference between the 2 options is that the Sandevistan needs to be activated, whereas the Kerensnikov is always on. For netrunners, the big addition under Neuralware is interface plugs, which are required for them to be able to connect to their cyberdeck and remotely hack net architectures. A chipware socket puts a small socket in the back of a character's neck, which allows for chipware items to be installed, such as a skill chip or a pane editor. The next type of cyberware are Cyberoptics, which, as the name implies, increases your character's visual acuity. The foundational piece for this category is Cyber Eyes. You can install one Cyber Eye, or you can replace both eyes with Cyber Eyes. Each Cyber Eye has 3 option slots for additional enhancements, and some of the options require 2 Cyber Eyes. You also have to pay the humanity loss for each Cyber Eye installed. Image Enhance is one that requires 2 Cyber Eyes to install, but it gives your character a +2 bonus to all perception, lip reading, and conceal reveal object skill checks. Virtuality gives netrunners the ability to project the cyberspace overlay of a net architecture without requiring virtuality goggles, but it does require 2 cyber eyes to work. Something that's more fashionable and could be useful for disguising yourself is the color shift implant, which gives your character the ability to alter the color and pattern of your eyes. Next up is Cyberaudio, which, as the name entails, focuses on cybernetic enhancements that affect your character's hearing, as well as some other interesting options. The foundational piece here is called the Cyberaudio suite, which can only be installed once and has 3 option slots. The placement of the Cyberaudio suite is usually in your character's head and neck, which means it runs along some of the same pathways as Neuralware. There are a number of interesting options that a player character can use from this category. Internal agents mean that you have your agent installed internally in your body. You can also install Radio Scanner Music Player to pick up radio broadcasts from the city's data pool. For those who want to play more paranoid characters, you have the Bug Detector, which can find listening devices, as well as Scrambler Descrambler, which allows you to scramble and descramble incoming communications. For those more social characters, you could get items like Amplified Hearing, which gives you a +2 bonus to perception skill checks that involve hearing, or a Voice Stress Analyzer, which gives your character a +2 bonus to human perception and interrogation skill checks. Moving on from there, we have internal body cyberware as our next type. These implants often replace or enhance parts of the body, but they are not the kind of cyberware that is visible, with a couple of exceptions. Your character has 7 option slots available for internal body cyberware implants. Some of the items here have no specific combat or skill-based purposes, such as the contraceptive implant, which permanently removes the possibility of your character getting pregnant or getting someone else pregnant. Other options that are more combat-focused are vampires and the cybersnake, 2 weapons that can be implanted in a character's mouth and esophagus, respectively. Other implants offer improvements to the body, such as enhanced antibodies, which enables a character to heal twice as fast as normal. The big implant that some characters will want is the grafted muscle and bone lace, which increases your character's body stat. Many of the Borgware options I'll be mentioning in a bit require your character to have at least 1 installment of grafted muscle and bone lace put into your character's body. Your character can install multiple implants of the grafted muscle and bone lace into their body. External cyberware is a small list in the core rulebook. These are cybernetic implants that are installed either on top of your skin or just under the surface. Your character has 7 option slots for external cyberware implants. One of the most prominent options is the Skin Weave, which grants your character head and body armor with stopping power of 7. The upgraded version of this is Subdermal Armor, which grants a character stopping power 11 armor. The major benefit of these external cyberware options is that they are self-repairing, regaining 1 SP per day of rest. The section that has the most options available has to be the Cyber Limbs section, which is broken down based on the foundational cybernetic requirement. The Cyberarm and Cyberleg are the foundational piece of equipment for many of these cybernetic implants. Some of the options for a character's arms can be installed in a meat, non-cybernetic arm, such as Wolvers or Scratchers. Wolvers are exactly what it sounds like, claws like Wolverine that pop out of a character's hands, usually right above or from the knuckles. Scratchers are small carbo-glass fingernails that count as a light melee weapon for damage purposes. Cyberarms come with 4 option slots in them, and some of the implants take up multiple slots. An example of that would be the pop-up grenade launcher, which takes up 2 option slots and is exactly what it says on the tin. Now, like the Cyber Eyes I mentioned earlier, Cyberarms are separate, so you would have to pay the cost to replace each arm separately and incur the humanity loss each time. Cyberlegs have 3 option slots in them, but not as many options as the Cyberarms. Like the Cyber Eyes, some of the options for the Cyberlegs have to be paired to work properly. This means that you would have to replace both legs and suffer the humanity loss for each one. Some of the options available that have to be paired are Skatefoot, which basically puts inline skates in your cyber feet. Another would be a jump booster, which negates movement penalties from jumping. There are also some covering options included in the cyber limbs category. This is cyberpunk after all, which means we have to keep in mind the rule about style over substance. The 3 covering options are plastic covering, real skin covering, and super chrome covering. Plastic is the bargain option, giving a thin veneer of plastic over your cyber arm or cyber leg. Real skin meat makes your cyber limb look pretty much like a real meat appendage. Super chrome is for those who want to stand out and embody the style over substance rule by adding a shiny metallic coating to their cyber limb. You can also get hardened shielding, which protects your cyber limb from damage caused by EMP weaponry. None of these take up an option slot, so think of them as added accessories. The final type of cyberware is called Borgware, and this is where you start getting into some of the body horror aspects of cyberpunk. For anyone who's played the Cyberpunk 2077 video game, you've no doubt seen the members of Maelstrom, one of the gangs in Night City. The cybernetics showcased by Maelstrom is Borgware. These cybernetic implants replace a significant part of your character's body, which means they all have the highest possible humanity loss dice rolls, with each option costing your character 4 6-sided dice worth of humanity upon installation. A good example of Borgware from the Cyberpunk 2077 game that is available during the time of the Red is the multi-optic mount, which replaces the upper part of your face to provide you with up to 5 additional cyber eyes. Now that we've covered all of the available types of cyberware, let's finish things up with talking about how your characters can get their cyberware. If you're using the Streetrat and Edgerunner template options for character creation, you'll find a table on page 117 of the core rulebook that provides the cyberware options for each role, as well as the pre-calculated humanity loss and potential empathy stat decrease. This is similar to the other tables for the Streetrat and Edgerunner templates that provided a list of gear and weapons a character for that role would typically have. I mentioned in my last video about the complete package options for buying your equipment, weapons, clothes, etc., that there was an additional option for cyberware. Your players can decide to sign up and work for a mega corporation, a crime family, or a military organization at character creation. If they do so, they receive a free Neuralink cybernetic implant and 1,500 Eurobucks to use specifically for purchasing cyberware. This is on top of the 2,550 Eurobucks you receive for purchasing weapons, ammo, equipment, etc. Obviously, signing up to work for a megacorp, a crime family, or a military outfit should not be taken lightly, and game masters should use that decision to ensure the characters understand the gravity of giving away their freedom for free cybernetics and some extra Eurobucks. If you decide signing up to work for a megacorporation, crime syndicate, or a military outfit is a good idea, pages 118 and 119 of the core rulebook offer some excellent ideas for how game masters can use this opportunity to ensure the characters comply with their new bosses. That wraps up cyberware and character creation. Next up, I'm going to be doing deep dives into each role that characters can play, starting with Rocker Boy. Remember to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Thanks for watching, Chooms.